Well, hello, Get Healthy UTV squad and family. Good to see all of you. Today we are live with our monthly Q&A. I'm here with Sam Kim. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good. Here we are on what day is it? Tuesday?
Tuesday, yep.
Okay, so you guys know that anybody who is joining us live, we are so happy to have you live, but these Q&As are all available for you to watch after the fact. So if you want to see last month or the month before, you can go to the GetHealthyUTV.com website, click on free videos.
Free videos, yeah.
Yep, and then you'll get a drop down for live Q&As and check them all out because we do try to pick a theme.
We do, yes.
You know, we do try to have like a theme. Of course, we take any question. All questions are fair game. You guys pre-asked some questions that Sam Kim has all ready to go. And then some of you like to ask them on the fly, and that's fine. But today, well, first of all, I'm Chris Freytag. I didn't even say that, but you guys know. What's our theme today, Sam? You want to just
it's all about like how to calculate your heart rate zones while you're working out, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and this was my little idea about a month ago when we started talking about it, because I'm like, this is something we really haven't discussed, and it actually is something that really matters. And for all of you who are training and working hard and hitting plateaus or wondering if you're doing the right thing, I think this can clarify some things. So we're going to talk about that today. As always, all of you Get Healthy UTV members, I just want to say we appreciate your membership. We hope that you enjoy all of the workouts. Premium members, you are now getting 2 new workouts a month, which has actually been a little more than 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yes,
because
yep.
we're adding a few bonus videos that we were able to license. As a matter of fact, just last week we released the Ballroom Basics from our friend Allison Holker, who is married to Twitch, Stephen Twitch Boss from The Ellen Show. And the two of them, we have dance videos from both of them. They're like freaking awesome.
They're amazing. If you don't follow them on social media, follow them because they're just so fun to watch.
They're so fun. They dance every single day. But anyway, premiums are getting 2 workouts a month. Gold members are getting 2 workouts a week. Yeah. We love to hear your feedback about how it's going, and especially gold members, because we did add that extra gold per week starting in 2021. That was like our, kick it off post-COVID bonus that we have for you guys. And it's a lot of work, but we love doing it. I hope you're enjoying the extra content. And always remember, if you're a premium member, you can upgrade to gold. We will have a banner at some point here. Our tech people, our production people will put one up for you. You can always upgrade to gold for a discounted price for your first year of gold membership. Okay, Sam, let's get into it.
Should we dive right in?
Let's dive right in. Let's start with some of the pre-asked questions, and then we'll take your questions on the fly.
Absolutely. All right, well, since we're talking about it, how do you determine your heart rate zone?
All right, so this is a common question. There is, I hate to say this, but there's no perfect way in terms of a math equation. The old-fashioned math equation was 220 minus your age. So I take 220 minus my age, 55, and I get, what did I say, 165?
Yes.
Okay, that's your maximum heart rate. So then you use your percentages. So in your different zones, like when you're really working hard would be like 70 to 80% of your zone. So I would take 80% of 165, and that takes me to about 132, which is kind of right for me. That's when I'm working really hard and I can sustain it. And then that 80 to 100% is that zone which we call the anaerobic zone, where we are starting to deplete ourselves of oxygen. You're working super hard and can probably only hold it for about 30 seconds or something. And that would be for me between like 132 to 160. And when I'm in those 140s, 150s, that's really hard for me. So it kind of does work. But here's what I'm going to tell you about heart rate zones. Every human is different. Sam and I have friends whose heart rate beats crazy fast.
Yep.
We have a couple girls that we work out with all the time that their heart rate's 190 all the time. You'd have to call 911 if my heart rate was 190. Now, does that mean they're more fit? No. Does that mean something's wrong with them? No. That means their genetics are different. Everybody has a different size heart. Everybody's heartbeat is different. So the best way to determine your zones is to get some sort of a tracking device. We use Apple Watches. The most accurate is going to be the chest monitor. So back in the day, we all wore our Polar chest monitors where it would talk wirelessly to your watch. That's very accurate. This is accurate, but not 100% accurate. I'm going to be honest, because it's taking it off your wrist. But what you want to do to determine your zone is get your tracking device, and then every time you are working really hard, like to the point of exhaustion, oxygen or without oxygen, look down and see what that heart rate number is. When you're in a zone where you feel like, oh, I really enjoy this, like I could go for a half hour, look down and see what that number is. And over the course of a week or a month, you're going to figure out, this is my comfortable zone. Give yourself about 10 to 20 beats right there. This is my comfort zone. This is where I get really breathless. And you kind of determine your own zones.
Yep.
So that was very long-winded, but that's the truth. People get so caught up with the number, and that little math equation is really not 100% accurate. So,
let's see. What percentage of time in a cardio workout should our heart rate be in that like top uppermost zone?
Okay, let's talk about the zones. I think we have to back it up and just say, what are the heart rate zones, right? Because I think there's some question about that. So typically zones are going to be 1 through 5. I know like Nike used to only do like 1 through 4. Polar always did like 1 through 5. Lifetime Fitness, big chain across the country, always did 1 through 5. So, you know, again, give or take, you just can't be so black or white when it comes to fitness. You have to have a little gray, which for me is hard. I'm a type A person, so I've had to learn to deal with that. But okay, here's how it works. So zone 1 and 2 are comfortable. As a matter of fact, we have an amazing article on gethealthyu.com. Sam's going to put the link, and I'm actually going to read to you from it quickly. Zone 1 is 50 to 60% of your maximum heart rate. Think of zone 1 like walking with your friends. You're just walking, you're walking the dog. It's pretty easy. It's your daily zone that you kind of live in, zone 1. Zone 2 is 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. It's like going out for a jog. It's like that place where you're like, you know, you're kind of breathing heavy, you're breathing through your mouth, but it's not, you know, you're not pushing yourself. Zone 3 is 70 to 80%. That's where we try to push you in our Get Healthy You TV cardio workouts. So when we're doing cardio kickboxing, we kind of live in that 70 to 80% zone where you're breathing heavy, you're breathing through your mouth, no longer through your nose. It's pretty intense, but you can still sustain it. That's going to be your, you know, endurance zone, your zone 3 place. Now, zone 4 is where you start to hit that anaerobic threshold and above, where you start to deplete your body of oxygen. That's 80 to 90% of your maximum heart rate. It's super freaking hard. You maybe only hold it for 30 seconds. It's going to be your HIIT workouts. It's going to be where you do some quick intervals, maybe you're biking or treadmill or whatever it is. It's going to be doing burpees or jump squats or something like that. And then zone 5 is honestly not for everyone. That's where you are like 90 to 100% of your maximum heart rate. That is reserved for people like pro athletes, Olympic athletes, intense athletes. Like you are going so hard, and honestly, I don't think I can get myself to that zone. And I think it's not only physical, it's mental. You have to be willing to endure the pain of pushing yourself to that point. And I think I kind of hold myself back at zone 4. So those are the 5 zones. So you're going to kind of live daily in 1 and 2. You're going to exercise, you know, your really good cardio in zone 3, and you're going to hit zone 4 in those high intensity situations. Now, what was the question? Now that we have covered that.
It was what percentage of the time in a cardio workout should your heart rate be in that like uppermost top zone?
So, I mean, in a cardio workout, I'm going to say you're probably living between 2 and 3, zone 2 and 3. Sometimes you push yourself up to zone 4 if you do a quick, you know, plyometric drill or something, or you sprint up a hill, or when you're doing a spin class, you're cycling really fast for a short period of time. But what percentage of it is in that amount? I mean, it's again based on your fitness level. Maybe when you do intervals, you can push yourself up that about a quarter of the time up into that really crazy zone.
How often do you personally check your watch to kind of figure out what your heart rate zone is at, or do you use like your perceived exertion more often?
Perceived exertion is another way of telling how you're feeling, and it goes back to that talk test of what I was saying. Like zone 1 is kind of like this. We're feeling pretty good. We're not really pushing ourselves, maybe walking around your house. Zone 2, you start to notice it's like leisure stroll. Zone 3, push. When I'm doing a workout, I just continue to look down at my watch every so often just to see, okay, where am I at? And also when I feel like, oh boy, I'm really getting up there, I look down to see where I'm at. I also, at the end of my workout, turn it off, and then I look at my heart rate range. Mm-hmm. So I go, oh gosh, my max today was 160. Like, wow, I'm proud of myself. I don't always know exactly when that happened because I'm not watching it per se right then and there. If you're doing something like a treadmill workout, we have 11 or 12 treadmill workouts on Get Healthy You TV. If any of you are spinners, then you're probably watching that console pretty closely to see when you cross over. But, you know, it's also, we're going to get a little bit into, is it important whether you're burning fat or converted sugars? And at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. What it matters is how hard you tried, how many calories you burned, how you're training, variety throughout the week, etc.
You kind of already touched it, but people are asking what % of your max heart rate zone is best to work out at?
You know, typically, like I just said, zone 3 is going to be that 70 to 80%. That is a sweet spot. That is hard, though. That is hard. It sounds easier than it is. To hold your heart rate in that zone for a long period of time, meaning 30 to 60 minutes, is pretty intense. I would say, like in a 60-minute kickboxing class, we start out in zone 2, and we're probably there for about 15 minutes. And here's something else. You can't just go into zone 3. You have to go through zone 1 and then zone 2 to get to zone 3 and then to get to zone 4. So you don't just like shoot up into zone 4 like that. You have to warm your body up a little bit. It's smart. So I would say, like in an hour-long class that I'm really pushing myself, I bet we're there for like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
In that mid zone, that zone 3. Zone 4, yeah. You're just not going to be able to maintain that. Like that is like 30-second intervals throughout a HIIT class. And that's why HIIT classes are work to rest ratio. That's why you have the rest built in. So like, for instance, whenever I'm teaching a HIIT class and we know we're going to go for like 30 minutes of HIIT, and the first HIIT interval, instead of resting, people are doing jumping jacks or whatever, I'm like, that's not the point of this workout. Soak up the rest so that you have the mental and physical capacity to push in that next work segment.
Yes. Just real quick, popping in here, some people miss the very beginning of this. This is being recorded, so you can come back, and if you miss like the formula that Chris said, we did put the link in there. We'll drop the link throughout the video, but know that you can come back to this video no matter where you're watching it from and watch the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do have somebody, it's a little bit more of like, I wouldn't say personal, but she's kind of giving us a background. So the past couple of weeks, she cannot get her heart rate past zone 2. She has no idea what's happening. She works out daily. She says she's in decent shape, but her heart rate isn't budging despite her feeling like she's working as hard as she normally is. Wondering if that is normal. Is her watch bad? She goes, I'm just really confused. I work out, and this has never happened to me before.
So, okay, a couple of things that we don't know about you. First of all, do you have your watch on tight enough where you know that it's actually, you know, again, the most accurate measurement is that chest strap. Yep. That's right. So when you're just dealing with a watch, it's not going to be quite as accurate. Number 2, are you fatigued? Are you taking no rest days off? We do have an article about overtraining, and I know when I used to overtrain when I was younger, I preface that because now that I'm older, I don't overtrain really because I know the repercussions of that for myself. But if you are overtraining, that's your body's way of saying, take a rest day. Like I know when I used to spin a lot, I would spin every day, and there would be days when I'd be like, I cannot freaking get my heart rate over 130, and I used to always go to 160. Like that is just my body saying, slow down, give yourself a rest. There's too much inflammation. You're too overdoing it, and I give myself rest. If that's not your problem, are you eating differently? Are you eating anything that's causing inflammation? Are you hydrated enough? Are you sleepless? Have you all of those things come into the factor of how your heart rate performs. So hopefully, if you change one of those variables, you're going to see a difference. Because typically it's overtraining, honestly.
Yeah.
But
you kind of find that, like, I don't want to say flatline, but it's just kind of like there. Yeah.
And there are days where I know, like I only got 4 hours of sleep or something, and I go to teach a class, and I see everybody just pushing themselves, and I'm working hard, but I look down and I'm like, I am not hitting my maximum zone just because I am so fatigued. So.
Yeah. Okay, those are, as of right now, those are like the biggest questions, but I know you have something that you want to cover.
I really want to hit what you're burning. Are you burning fat or sugar? Because that is a big thing. Back in like 2010, it became the big thing. Are you a fat burner or are you a sugar burner? And people would literally be like, oh my gosh, I just found out I'm a sugar burner. Like it was like
a big deal.
Like it was the worst thing in the world. I'm like, everybody is a sugar burner. So let's just clarify that for you. Again, we do have a article that I really want you guys to read. It's called What is Your Fat Burning Zone and Does It Really Matter? And that's a trick question because the answer is no. But yes, there is a fat burning zone. So let's just talk about it. You burn fat and you burn sugar when you're exercising. Sugar meaning converted sugar to glycogen. So these are your 2 fuels, body fat and converted sugars, glycogen. And they're like jet engines and they go like this. But glycogen is the pilot light for fat. If you run out of glycogen, you can no longer burn fat. So you've got to have a little converted sugar in the tank so that your fat can burn. That's point number one I want to make. So when you are exercising in a complete fasted state with zero glycogen in your tank, you can't burn fat because the pilot light's not turned on, and you end up burning up muscle, which happens to a lot of people training for marathons or different kinds of long distance type of races or stuff like that. Now, how do you know if your tank is 100% empty? Well, if you've slept for like 8 hours at night and haven't eaten in 10 to 12 hours, your tank is probably about 75% depleted, which means you only have, a few grams of converted glycogen to work, which means you'll get started exercising and then it'll be like, okay, I feel great for the first 15 minutes and then it's because you ran out of glycogen. So top off your tank. I do not eat before I exercise, meaning a meal, because I exercise at typically we tend to like to work out at like 5:30 in the morning, but I will have a banana because it is a quick source of simple sugar, natural sugar. I didn't say eat, Fruit Loops. I said eat a banana. And that will give you that extra sugar in the tank that converts to glycogen and will just keep you going. Okay, so now you've got your fat and your sugar burning. When you exercise at a lower heart rate, you burn more fat. That is called your fat burning zone. Lower, so back in like 2010, people would talk about LISS, low intensity, steady state training. And they're like, oh man, I really want to be a fat burner, so I'm going to walk really slow on this treadmill. Well, good luck, because you're going to have to walk for the next, 3 days to burn enough calories. So you are better off getting that heart rate up a little higher, and then you get into that sugar. So in that zone 3, that like really nice cardio zone, you're kind of doing a little bit of this, fat and sugar. When you get into that anaerobic threshold where you are going, as hard as you can, high heart rate, it's like those HIIT workouts, you are burning primarily glycogen, which is why you want to have some of that in the tank, and you are going. Now you might say, oh my gosh, I'm a sugar burner. Well, yes, anybody at a high heart rate is a sugar burner, but you're burning calories at such a high rate that you're going to benefit. So don't worry which type of fuel you're burning. Worry about the end result. Am I using my muscles properly? Have I pushed my heart rate? Have I trained all my muscle groups this week? Have I, all of those things come into play. But we do have a little chart in this article that shows, like, at the end of the day, if you do a really low intensity but long workout versus a high intensity, shorter workout, the total calories burned at the end of the day are going to be higher in the high intensity. So check it out. And there's reason to do both. You want to live in all these different heart rates and train your body, and you want to do some days of heavy, slow weights. You want to do other days where maybe it's faster and furious. You want all cardio. You want to use all muscle groups. So there's no one right way to train. But it's really important that you realize that working out in all the zones has its worthiness. And don't worry about what type of fuel you're burning. Worry about how you feel that day and how you're going to divide up your week.
Yeah, and every day I feel like is going to be very different. There's times when I just like go out for a walk and I'm like, wow, that was like way harder than I anticipated. And no, I'm not in that zone, 4 or 5. But, spending some time in different heart rate zones really does feel good.
And I think one of the questions I get from a lot of people is, I went out for a walk and I walked the dog for like 4 miles and it wasn't strenuous and I burned 500 calories. And then I killed myself with one of your HIIT workouts and I only burned 200 calories. Why do it? Well, okay, first of all, to walk 4 to 5 miles probably took you a lot longer. You were probably out walking for an hour or more, probably more. So that was a longer period of time you had to dedicate. Secondly, these watches aren't always 100% accurate. So, again, don't always be totally concerned with the exact calorie burn, because if you were using your muscles in a workout, let's say you did a 30-minute workout with us, pyramid power yesterday, 45 minutes. Was serious strength. Both of us are both talking about how I'm really
very
sore today. I can feel it. We were using 15-pound weights. Now, the end calorie burn may not have been as high as maybe you thought it was going to be. However, you get that post calorie burn from a higher metabolism, more muscle on your body, muscle recovery. So using your muscles is really important. It still goes back to the variety is the spice of life. And one of the things we try to do for you at Get Healthy UTV is create a variety of workouts so that you are doing total body, so that you are using your muscle groups in different ways with different exercises, so that you are getting some cardio in, so you are getting some recovery in.
Yeah. I mean, that's like one thing that I know, like my mom is, getting back into her, strength training, and she honestly loves walking and running. She's like, I feel really good. But I'm like, Mom, you got to lift the weights and start slow. Like, you don't have to jump into don't jump into Pyramid Power +5 tomorrow. But you have to, it's like that calorie burn that you talk about afterwards. Like, you might not feel like you burned that many calories in that 20-minute, workout that you did, but it's like your muscles repairing itself when you go to sleep. All that stuff plays into effect. So
yeah, and I'm that person too who says, well, a yoga workout or a Pilates workout, it just only burns a few calories, so I just don't feel like taking the time. But your body's health is like, it's 3D, it's full dimensional. So you have to have those recovery days. You should stretch your ligaments, your tendons, your muscles. You should focus on very focused core exercise. I saw somebody in our group today or yesterday posted that they did Kate's shoulder and neck mobility workout.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I did that workout with her, and it was very slow, and we probably only burned like 200 calories or something, but it was so awesome. I felt so good afterwards, and sometimes you need to do some of that recovery and self-work for yourself.
Yeah, and your body will tell you.
Yes.
When it needs it. So listen to it, because, and even sometimes we don't do a good job listening. I know I don't for sure, but now I'm like, oh, my hips, like I need to stretch. So it's a constant reminder. Let's see. Okay, so any recommendations on a fitness tracker? She'd like to know her steps and heart rate, but not really sure what to look for when looking for a fitness tracker.
Well, if you ask Sam and I, we're just so incredibly biased. We love our Apple Watches.
We have a lot of Apple products.
Well, I love to hate Apple. I'm so mad at them right now about my computer, but I love my Apple Watch. But I love it because it does my steps. Again, you can't call it the Holy Bible, but I love that it does my steps. I love that I can use the workout mode and am I doing an outdoor walk, an indoor walk? Am I doing kickboxing? Am I doing cross training? Am I doing just strength training? You can pick what you're doing. I tighten my watch when I'm working out, so it's really tight on my wrist, so it's getting my heart rate, and then I loosen it up because I don't like it to be that tight all day. Mm-hmm. But I have my calendar here. I know exactly what I'm doing next. I have the temperature of the day. I have the date. I get my emails. I use this for more than just that. Yep. My mom and dad, 82, they both have an Apple Watch. We both gave them an Apple Watch. My mom, we like her, this can do your echocardiogram, it'll get your sinus rhythm of your heart rate, and she was experiencing some AFib type things. And so we love that she can just go like this and get her rhythm of her heart. We love that it also will tell them their heart rate at any time of day. So, for seniors and older people, it's good that they know what their heart rate is. It also has a life alert on it so that you can set that up. So if you fall or something happens, you can push, something about, do you need help? My mom said she did something the other day where she moved her arm really fast and said, are you okay? Do you need help? She's like, wow, Apple, thanks for checking on me. So, that's why I really love my Apple Watch. Now, it's expensive. So your Fitbit is going to be a really good product. They have really come a long way. There are different generations of Fitbits, and I think if you're a member of the Get Healthy UTV squad, go to that page. And someone just recently asked the question, what's your favorite tracker? Everyone will tell you what they use because there's a lot of different ones. Mm-hmm. Garmin makes an amazing tracker if you want GPS. If you're an outdoor hiker or biker or something like that, you're going to get GPS, elevation, and heart rate. Yep. So that's pretty cool. Nike makes a couple of products. I've never heard anything great about Nike.
I had one of theirs when they first came out with it, and I'm sure it's come a long way since when I had my first one, but it kind of crapped out on me after a few months. So.
And Polar, Polar, they make an amazing product. Most of their products do require the chest strap, but it's 100% accurate and really awesome.
Chris, can you kind of talk about your resting heart rate compared to when you're exercising? Say your resting heart rate, I don't know what yours is, low 40s. Is it okay to jump that high and then returning to that low heart rate after you're done? What does that kind of all look like?
Yeah, my resting heart rate, again, another great way to know your resting heart rate is wear your watch to bed. And the minute you wake up, before you stand up, just turn it here and push the heart rate and just find out what it is while you're lying in bed. That's an amazing testimony to what your heart rate is. Because once you stand up, in these places that measure your resting heart rate that you have to drive to. Yeah. By the time you've driven there, you're no longer in the lowest heart rate that you've had since you woke up. So, again, that's really medical because some people just have naturally, genetically very low resting heart rates. Like my dad will always say his blood pressure is really low, his heart rate is really low. That can be genetic. A lot of people, like I was talking earlier, have very fast beating hearts. Typically, a low heart rate is associated typically with fitness level, like you have a good fitness level, but that's not always the case. So I can't really speak to what your resting heart rate should be, but typically 40s, 50s, and 60s, I think is a pretty normal resting heart rate. If your resting heart rate is like 80, that's a little too high. And then again, you got to get your blood pressure checked. You have to get your health numbers checked to see what is causing that. But after exercise, if your heart rate returns quickly, not to total resting, but like if you were exercising, your heart rate was 150, you stop exercising, and 2 minutes later you look down and you're down at 80 or 90, that's a sign of your fitness level. If your heart rate can recover quickly, that means you're doing your heart's in good conditioning, which is, kudos to you. For a lot of people who are beginners, they get their heart rate up and then they can't get it down. They'll be like, oh my God, my heart rate's not coming down. And that's just because they're deconditioned. So it takes some time till their heart is fit enough to recuperate.
We have a question coming in here that is asking, how hard are you supposed to kick during kickboxing?
That's a good question because you do not want to dislocate your joints and or hurt yourself. So you imagine, this is why we always use these visuals, like you're pushing your car door shut with your heel. Like you give it a push. It's a push kick, but you're not like flipping out your joints.
Yeah.
We always try to tell you not to snap your joints. There is such thing as a snap kick in kickboxing, and I never do them in our kickboxing classes because if done improperly, you can really snap your knee or your ankle. So we kind of stick to a very basic push kick, but you are pushing with force, like you're shutting that car door, but you are not flicking. How about that word?
I like that.
No flicking.
No flicking. I mean, but that's something like when I first started doing kickboxing, I was like, oh, my elbow's like really sore. And then like the more I started doing it, the more I started listening to your cues too. Like you got to really think about like the ground up when you're talking about kickboxing. Like it doesn't just come from the extremities, which is like what you think is working, but it's like all through the upper back. Starts from the ground. You always talk about that. And so really kind of feeling where that all
right, because if you flick from the kneecap or flick from the elbow, those joints are going to be super sore.
Yeah.
But if you push kick from your glute and you bring your punch from your back, you're going to feel it in the right places.
And if you're somebody that loves kickboxing, like take a few weeks off and come back and be like, oh, yep, there it is. Because there are times when I know weeks like we don't do it and I'm like, the week I come back, I'm like, there's my back muscles again.
Yeah, and for all of us who are aging, if you feel like your back is getting flabby, the number one secret is kickboxing. Kickboxing will use those back muscles, and I just noticed such a big difference in my back.
And it's a great cardio workout
and
too,
it's,
so
it's
bonus.
Amazing.
We have somebody rolling in here asking, what is the best pre-workout drink before and after with not much caffeine? She hasn't been able to find a good like pre-workout drink.
So during my workout, I tend to use those Noon tablets, NUUN, which is potassium, sodium, and magnesium, basic electrolytes that you'd find in like a Gatorade, but with no food coloring, no sugar, none of that. So it's like looks like an Alka-Seltzer. You drop it in your water. I say I tend to use that. I use it every time. So every time I work out, I just flip a little Noon tablet in my water. My pre-workout drink, I'm not 100% consistent with pre-workout. Like for instance, when I work out at 5:30 in the morning, I don't have time to drink like a 12-ounce water or I'll have to wet my pants during the workout. So I just go right to my water. But I typically, like I'll do a pre-workout when I work out a little later, like 8 or 9 in the morning. And I'll also just use it as an energy boost in the afternoon. I use the Reds drink from Organifi.
Yep.
Both of us use it.
Yep.
Organifi is all natural superfoods. They're all natural ingredients. It's filled with like reds, meaning raspberries, pomegranate, all red type of vegetables and fruits. It's not super sweet. There's no added sugar, but it's tasty. It's really tasty.
Yes.
It doesn't taste chemical at all. I hate all those chemically laden, and there's zero caffeine. It's just a really good boost, and it comes in packets or a container that you just put a scoop in water and I shake it with a blender bottle. So that for me has been my go-to pre-workout for several years. We do have a code for you. So if you go to the Organifi.com website, and use Chris Freytag, my name, you get 15% off your order.
Yep.
So it makes a difference. Try it out, because seriously, that's been a game changer for me.
And so I like this one because it tastes really good. But prior to that, I had tried. Everyone's like, "Well, try beet juice." Beet juice is really hard for me to. The taste of it just isn't always great.
Beet juice is an amazing pre-workout because beets are what we call they're vascular dilators. It opens your airways. And so nitric oxide, and it creates nitric oxide. It has nitric oxide, which is a vascular dilator. So like athletes will drink beet juice before an event. But here's the deal. Who has beet juice at their house? I mean, you'd have to juice your beets, which is pretty messy. It's delicious. And then you have to add other things to it, because otherwise it tastes very like dirt. So you have to, put some apples and some raspberries and blueberries. And do the Reds have beets in it?
I think they do a little bit.
I think it does, yeah.
Which is why I was like skeptical. But then, I mean, they've got so many other things, really good things in there as far as like, let's see.
Can you see on the ingredient list?
Okay, so it is a lot of things I can't pronounce, but reishi mushroom, red beet, pomegranate, acai, raspberry, strawberry, blueberry, cranberry, lemon.
Wow, don't be thrown off by mushroom. You cannot taste it.
No, you cannot taste it.
Anyway.
And a few other things. So, those are good options. Going back to the kickboxing, because somebody is now asking a question. She says, when I do kickboxing, which she loves, her heart rate gets up there, but she does not feel out of breath or anything. When she does circuit or intervals, sometimes she feels like she's sucking wind and that her heart rate is lower than when she does kickboxing. Why does it feel harder at a lower heart rate?
That's kind of bizarre. Are you sure your heart rate is lower? Are you sure you're not looking down on the rest and it was higher, but then you look down when you were resting, it was lower? Because that would be very weird to me. But if you're using weights, you might feel more winded, because sometimes like picking up a heavy weight and lifting it up overhead just makes you feel exacerbated, like, whoa, like it's hard to do. But typically that would not be the case. Typically, you should feel more winded.
More winded.
Yeah, in a high intensity. What I notice is I don't always catch my exact heart rate. Like I said, I turn off my watch and then I look down and I go, oh gosh, my highest heart rate today was 160. Wow. Yeah. I didn't know that. I never caught it during the workout because I was so busy burping and lifting my weights that I didn't see it at the moment that it happened. Whereas when you're doing a steady state cardio, you can look down a bunch of times and notice that you're at that place. So.
And I find sometimes like my kickboxing heart rate does stay pretty constant, but there are times, I don't know what combinations you're throwing in there, but it will, kind of spike a little bit and then come back down. So it really kind of just depends on what you're doing, how much effort you're putting into it at that time, I mean, it'll vary. Going back to the Apple Watch, what is the difference between active calories and total calories on my Apple Watch, and which one should I go by?
Well, we always go by total calories because they're more. No. Active calories are what happened during that workout. So like being active. And total calories, you'd have to look at the exact description on their website. But total calories, I think, takes into account some of the metabolic calories that might have happened during that time, as well as like, if you left it on for a while and you're not, we all do that where we don't turn it off right away because you're like, oh, I'm just going to wait 5 minutes.
Few more calories.
And so that to me is, or if you're doing like a HIIT workout, like it's measuring your activity movement. So it's giving you your active calories. And then when you're just resting and standing there, those would be a part of the total calories. Again, I tend to go with my total calories. What do you do?
I do total.
Yeah.
Because it's more.
I do my active calories like for my goal.
Yeah. Yep.
And then, but I always look at the total calories.
Yeah, I do too. I even look at the total like after a workout. I don't think I just look at like the active.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, let's see. Any recommendations on improving balance? This lady has vertigo, so it's extra hard, but she'd like to build some strength, endurance, and stamina.
Yeah, so vertigo, I'm sure you're going to a doctor or to an ENT because that often has to do with like the crystals in your ear Like I've heard of people after, weird trips or in an airplane or whatever where they have to go to a chiropractor or an ENT to fix that. So I would personally, if it were me, I'd be like, okay, I need to fix my vertigo. I don't want to deal with it. I want to fix it.
Yeah.
But if for some reason it's something that is unfixable, Balancing on one foot, how silly it sounds, is really a good way to practice balance. Have something nearby you. Actively grip your abdominals and stand on that one foot. Roll up a mat and stand on a mat, because now it's a little more mushy and your stabilizing muscles are working all the way up your foot, your ankle, your leg, all the way through your hip to your core, to work on your balance. Yoga is a great way to improve balance. Start taking more yoga classes, because you do a ton of balancing in yoga, which is super humbling. There are days where I can balance really well and other days no. And for me, I can balance better on one leg than I can the other. And so that is also humbling. And finding a focal point. And, again, if you have vertigo, but instead of looking around when you're practicing your balance, like really focus in on one thing, because vision is a major part, obviously, as you talk about vertigo, of your balance ability and getting stronger in the core.
We were kind of just talking about this beforehand. Any tips on getting better sleep during menopause? She does all the common things, winds down, avoids caffeine, etc., but finds it very difficult to sleep.
Ugh, I know.
We were just talking
about it. Oh, I've never in my life had sleep troubles till menopause. It's like, wait, what is going on here? Typically, deep sleep is kind of related to progesterone. So as you go into menopause, your progesterone goes like this, plows down.
Thanks.
Isn't it exciting? And so low progesterone can be a big deal. Eating healthy, getting rid of any kind of chemicals in your diet, like literally in menopause, no food coloring, no weird added sugars or chemicals. Get rid of all that weird stuff. It causes inflammation, which then just wreaks more havoc. Getting your adrenal glands in order and trying to improve progesterone levels. Meditation, that's what I was trying to say. There have been studies that have proven that meditation in menopause can kind of mimic a higher progesterone level, and that it can help you sleep deeper. Hard to know. I started using Organifi Gold about 3 years ago when I was having trouble sleeping, and it's the gold drink is different than the red. It's geared towards sleep. It's got reishi mushroom and chai and tiger tail, which I know sounds disgusting, but it tastes like a chai tea.
So good, yeah.
It's so good and relaxing, and I don't know if it was placebo or if it really helped, but it started relaxing me at night and helping me sleep. And taking the time to meditate more, which I'm so guilty of. I need to do that more. But low progesterone is typically the hormone that's causing the problems in those menopausal years. So we can blame it all on that.
You really can. Let's see. Should you adjust the amount of protein needed down as you lose weight?
Yes, because you're probably, yes and no. I mean, it depends on how many calories you're eating per day. You want to eat about a half gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you go from 140 to 120, then now you are going from 70 grams of protein to 60 grams of protein, kind of, which then makes sense that you're maybe eating a few less calories if you lost 20 pounds. But it depends, because a lot of people will lose weight but still be able to maintain that caloric intake. Again, when it comes to calories, it's how many calories, that matters. Don't ever believe that it doesn't. How many calories matters, but even more important is the other cue from quantity, quality. What type of calories? So if you're eating more calories that are from whole foods and real foods and more veggies and cruciferous vegetables and leafy greens and citrus fruits and good stuff like that, you might have your calorie intake a little higher. But I guess, you could say adjust your protein down. I mean, that was very long-winded, but nothing is black or white. Like, it's not like you put this in a math equation and this is exactly what you should do. You kind of have to play around a little.
Yeah, you definitely do. I think you get so many questions, like we get so many questions, I get questions, and people always ask, like, what do you eat? What does Chris eat? We don't eat the same thing because our bodies are very different, and everyone's body, you just kind of have to
Well, and you're allergic to a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm not allergic to anything.
Yeah,
So,
really.
I have a whole lot of different choices. But
Chris is always like, have you tried this? I'm like, can't, I have that nut allergy. So, but moral of the story is that everyone is different, and you kind of just have to work through some things, like, whether it's.
But that goes to figuring out your macros.
Yes.
So, macros are a very interesting, fun way. I think fun, I'm throwing in the word fun, because they're kind of fun to figure out. And it's a different way of thinking about what you're eating, versus just calories. So let's just say you're like, okay, I'm going to eat 1,600 calories for the day because I'm trying to lose weight. Okay, then if you're going to try to eat 50% of those calories are going to come from carbs, let's just say. So now you're saying that 800 of those calories are coming from carbs. And for every 4 calories is 1 gram of a carb. So take 800 divided by 4, and that's 200. So now you're saying to yourself, ooh, I get to eat 200 carbs today. What am I going to eat? And see if it fits in your macros. Well, today I want to have a peach, and I want to have these veggies, and then I'm going to have this little treat over here, or whatever it might be. If you're going to do 25% of those calories coming from protein, so that's 400. And again, protein is the same, 4 calories per gram. So now you get 200 grams of protein. Am I doing that math right?
I think so.
That's a lot of protein. That's more than I would eat. So maybe you adjust it down. Did I do that math right? If
I'm
25%,
half paying attention, so.
yeah, 400. No, I'm sorry, I didn't do that right. That was the carbs. So that would be 100 grams of protein because you have 400 calories that are coming from protein divided by 4 calories per gram. That's 100 grams. So that's kind of perfect because that's somewhere in between that 0.5 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body fat. Does that make sense? I love figuring out macros because then when people say, oh, I can't believe you ate a piece of cake, like, how did you do that? Well, if it fits in your macros, if you know you have 200 carbs for the day and you want to give 80 of those to your piece of cake, do it. And then the other 120 come from the other carbs. Like, it gives you some leeway to play around and create your meal plan. No, that's pretty low calorie, if you ask me, 1,600. So if you're at a higher caloric intake of like 2,000, now you've got even more to play with.
And going off of that, we have somebody asking, do I figure out the amount of grams of protein that you need according to your current weight or your goal weight, what you're going towards?
Current weight at the time. But again, play around with it somewhere in between. There's no, like, let's just say I'm trying to eat 70 grams of protein a day. I really try to go about 70 to 100. So if you are really active, you might want to go more than a half gram of protein per pound of body weight. You might go closer up to 3/4 of a gram per pound of body weight, which makes sense for muscle recovery because protein is responsible for helping to feed your muscles for recovery. That's what it's made of, amino acids.
So while you're kind of on that kick, we do have somebody asking, protein versus collagen, do you need both supplements or are they essentially the same thing?
They're completely different. They have 2 different amino acid profiles. So there are 20 amino acids that make up proteins. 9 of them are called essential amino acids, meaning that they essentially have to come from food. Your body does not make them. You need to eat them every day. Those 9 essential amino acids you need to have come from food. The other 11 your body makes, but your body starts to make less of it as you age, things change. So a whey protein is going to have a different amino acid profile than a collagen protein. The amino acids that are in a collagen protein are building blocks that are more responsible for hair, skin, nails, connective tissues, things like that. The amino acid profile of a whey protein are going to be geared more towards muscle repair, muscle recovery. Branched chain amino acids in particular, leucine, isoleucine, and valine. So those amino acids are different than the amino acid profile over here. So can you take both every single day? Absolutely. I use both every day. Typically, sometimes I don't. I'm not as diligent on my collagen. I try to be daily. And I don't always use whey protein. If this weekend I was out of town, I was getting a good mix of food. I was eating probably more than I normally do. I didn't do a protein shake because I was out of town. So it's just all about a day's caloric intake and what you want to eat based on your macros. But they are very different, so you can use them both.
We have... let's see, Janet is saying that she just got an agility ladder.
Yay.
Where is the best place to set it up? Driveway, yard? What do you like about it? How do you use it?
Oh my gosh, we love agility ladders.
My favorite.
We use it primarily for speed, agility, and quickness, SAQ, speed, agility, and quickness. It teaches your body how to deal with agility and the whole mind quickness. So it's like it's mental fitness, like in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, high knees, go this way, go that way, jump 2 feet forward, 1 foot back. I mean, it's just really fun to have all this different patterning. Then quickness, how fast can your body react? our reactions get slower as we get older. So you have to really think as you do that footwork. And then speed burns calories. So it's an amazing cardio workout. You can set it up. I don't know what kind of agility ladder you have. So if it's like made of slats and ribbon, typically on more of a hard surface, that's going to work better. It won't slip all over your carpet. We have ones that are made out of like asphalt, like not asphalt, but like a
rubber.
Rubber,
Yeah.
thank you. So we unroll them, and they do best on flat surface also. No agility ladder is very good on carpet, I wouldn't say.
No.
Garage, driveway, basement, whatever works. It's super fun. We have a great article about agility ladders.
I liked it, yeah.
Okay. We have a whole video on patterning. So we give you like 15 different ideas on patterning. We have a whole video. We have like the steps for each one. So definitely check it out. It's such a great cardio workout. Even like 15 minutes of agility ladders is nuts.
It is nuts. And if you like set it further away and you kind of run like how you normally do it, you like do the ladder and then you run further and you come around and come back if you have multiple people doing it with you.
Yeah, we set a cone. So we don't go down and back on the ladder because we usually have a bunch of us doing it. We go down the ladder and then we run about 10, 15 yards to a cone and come back down around the cone. Down the ladder, run to the cone. And so you can, like, we did it for 20 something minutes the other day, and I think it was like 2 miles or something.
yeah,
we went 2 miles in terms of steps.
Yeah, you can definitely get your steps in. If you're doing that at 5:30 in the morning, you're like, check done, got my steps in for the day.
That's it, I'm done.
That's it. A lot of people have been asking, are the workouts practiced a lot as a group or a pair before our filming? How do you decide the clothing? I feel like this is like a hot topic lately.
This is hilarious. Okay, so gold workouts. I know you're asking about the gold because we do them every Monday and Friday. We do not rehearse. All of our trainers are professional, certified trainers that can pick up a workout like that. So we typically just get to the studio and we're like, okay, here's what we're doing today. And as the backup trainer, you're just going to follow along. You're going to make some mistakes. I mean, no big deal, but you're typically going to know what to do. And the backup trainer is also very agile at coming up with modifications to show low impact options because we're trained professionals. So we should be able to do that. So it's very little rehearsal on gold workouts. On premium workouts, it's still, we don't sit there and rehearse, a million hours because we're all trained professionals. What we wear, we literally text each other. Do you have a white shirt clean? Great, let's wear a white shirt. Do you have a pink shirt clean? Great, let's wear a pink shirt. That's pretty much it. It's just kind of fun to match outfits. It's just more pleasing on the eye, so we enjoy it.
We do.
And I'll tell a little funny story. So when I started filming videos back in like 2000, I would fly to LA because literally that was like the only place that people filmed videos, and they were in big studios with tons of cameras and a huge camera crew, and it took a lot of people and a lot of money. Now today, you can set up your camera, do it, whatever. But then they would hire models to be in the back of my videos, and we would have a full day rehearsal prior to filming because they were models. They were not fitness people.
Oh, wow.
So I would rehearse all day with these. It would be like 8 hours of brain surgery for me because I'd be like, no, this is your right hand, use this. And these poor models were thrown into these fitness videos, and some of them were kind of fitnessy, but a lot of them were not. And it was so much work. But when you're dealing with trained professionals that teach group fitness for a living, we pretty much can pick up anything and know what to do, right? So that's the beauty of it now, because it used to be a nightmare. And one really funny story. We were in the middle of a huge shoot for Prevention Magazine, and it was a long frickin' day. We had already been there like 5-6 hours, and we still had more to go. And lunch break happened at like 1 in the afternoon because we had some problems. And this girl who was one of the backups left for an audition. She just told somebody, hey, I'm going to an audition, I'll be back. But she got stuck in traffic.
Oh no.
So she was gone for almost 2 hours. I thought the producer was going to slice her head off. I mean, when she got back, everyone was on edge because we'd been sitting there for 2 hours waiting because we couldn't just start the workout
without her.
Yeah, because she was in the whole front half of it.
Oh boy.
So it was such a long day, and I knew that they fired her after that day. Like, don't come back.
Don't come back after this. Let's see. We have people asking, what is the best workout for cardio and strength together? Would it be a HIIT workout or kickboxing?
Either. It's good to mix it up. The best thing you can do for yourself is give yourself variety. That's why we do the split day training. That's why we do the heavier weights. That's why we do the bar workouts with the faster, quicker movements. That's why we do kickboxing, which is all body weight. It's good to mix it up. So intervals is work, rest, work, rest. Circuits are string together a bunch of stuff, then rest. String together a bunch of stuff, then rest. So intervals, in essence, can be a little higher intensity where you push because you're always getting that rest. Circuits are a little bit more like maintain and get through the circuit. So there's no one right way. You know, we at Get Healthy UTV, we tend to be group fitness focused. I'm a certified personal trainer, but I really love group fitness because it's efficient. You're getting your heart rate up and your weight workout in at the same time. And sometimes, you know, back when we used to spend a lot of time in gyms, I'd be in the group fitness room and we'd be lifting and then we'd do some jumping jacks and then we'd lift again. And we were going strong for an hour. And then I'd step out into the gym and I'd just see people walking around and then they'd pick up a few weights, go like this, and then they'd walk over somewhere else. And I'm like, wow, there is a big difference between what we do, what they're doing. So, and again, there is no right way. So divide it up, change it up. I love to spend 2 days a week just walking, where I do, typically on the weekends, I don't do any weights. That's kind of my rest time. And so just change it up. There's no right way.
Yeah. Let's see here. Have the July calendars have been announced?
Oh, let's talk about July calendars, all of you squad members. First of all, let's just talk about free challenges. I wanted to mention that really quickly. You just jarred my memory. We have so many free challenges, so if you are not a Get Healthy UTV member, try out one of our free challenges. If you are a Get Healthy UTV member, still try out our free challenges because they're a lot of fun. Basically, they're a downloadable calendar off the free challenge page. You can see the banner on the screen. And the one I'm kind of thinking about is we have a 14-day body weight challenge. We've been talking to a lot of people who are going on vacation over 4th of July, may not have access to dumbbells and weights and things. So this 14-day body weight challenge is basically 14 days of workouts without dumbbells. So it's a fun one.
And quite honestly, those, like, when we were just talking about cardio and strength together, like, should you do kickboxing, which typically is body weight workouts are so tough. Like, they are very humbling because we always want to pick up those heavy weights, which is also very good, but body weight workouts are...
Well, and one of the things I like about body weight sometimes is that people perfect their squats and lunges when they do a little more body weight training, because now you're not holding heavy weights in your hands, so you can really focus. Am I going down far enough in my range of motion? Am I using good posture through my core? Are my shoulders back? So you can focus a little more on that. So check out the free challenges. Regarding July calendars, we're kind of in limbo because, strangely, as Murphy's Law would have it, we created a split day calendar, but it took us a little bit of time to get it through our creative department. In the meantime, Lindsay put out a split day calendar. And so I know a lot of you squad members were already doing split day this month. So why would you want to do split day again in July? We're going to hold that calendar for August.
Yes.
So just know that's some insider info. It's already on the website, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. I believe so.
But we're going to do split day in August. So for July, we were thinking a lot of people are on vacation. We were almost thinking about just letting people pick their own, weren't we?
I think we were maybe going to do the sweat in 30 or sweat in 20.
Oh, sweat in 30 or sweat in 20. See, she remembers everything. Because people will be doing perhaps less indoor workout and maybe adding on some running or walking or hiking or biking with their families. So yeah, we'll probably post up the sweat in 20 and the sweat in 30 so people can mix and match.
Yep.
We do have a really fun beginner calendar coming that we put together for all you beginners, a new one that's going to be a really fun one. We have a yoga Pilates calendar coming for those of you who are yogis and you really like that focus. I actually thought at first I was like, a whole month of yoga. And then I was looking, I was like, that's kind of hard.
Yeah, it is.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be a fun one.
We did a lot of yoga and core in that one.
And core, a lot of yoga and core. Yep. And then we have, whenever you guys have ideas, we love your ideas for calendars and for workouts. We listen. You guys are important. Tell us what you're looking for. Someone just told us the other day they wanted cardio plus core 3, right?
Yes. Yep.
They're like, we want another cardio plus core. That's such a fun format. Guess
Done.
what? We'll bring it to you in July. Yep.
Can you explain what the split day calendar is while you're talking about that? Some people are asking.
Split day is basically old-fashioned training. It's still an amazing way to train. It's back before we got into the craze of group fitness or before women were really using dumbbells in classes. When I started teaching in the gym, there were no dumbbells in a aerobic room. It was strictly more dancey. And then all the weights happened out in the weight room. Now we're combining it all together and making athletic type classes where intervals and circuits have become a normal vocabulary word for those of us in the fitness industry. But that being said, split day training is where you divide your body up. So you do, maybe push-pull one day, back and chest. Next day you do bicep, tricep, shoulder. Next day you do legs. Next day you do core. So basically you're giving those muscle groups a rest throughout the week so you can just keep going with that training throughout the course of a week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever you're doing. That used to be kind of the old way of training when you used machines. You do an upper body machine day, then you would do a lower body machine day, that kind of concept. It's a really good way to train because, like I said, you've got rest days built in. When you're constantly doing total body workouts like we tend to do, you have to build in rest days. You should not do total body 7 days a week. It's too much. You have to give those joints some sort of rest at some point. So when you do total bodies, it's good to do maybe 4 of them a week and 3 days where you're, doing something else or throwing in yoga or throwing in core, or throwing in walking or treadmill or whatever it might be. So they're both really good ways of training. And we have lots of split day workouts. So we just stuck them all into a calendar for you.
Yes. We have, let's see, Kathy is saying that she's in her 60s, no jumping, pelvic instability issues. She wants strength with low impact. What is a good ratio balance for her?
A ratio balance of what? Like
I
cardio
think workout,
to strength?
yeah. I think cardio, strength.
Well, just keep
with
everything low impact. And we have a whole low impact section in both the premium and the gold. But you can also choose some of the other workouts too and just make them low impact, like own it. Nobody should feel intimidated or feel bad about themselves because they chose to keep something low impact. Keep your intensity high. Yesterday when we were doing the the Pyramid Power Plus 5, so Pyramid Power 5, I kept it low impact, Sam added a little jumping. Mm-hmm. I was just so sweaty and so blown away at the end of it. I was really spent. So keeping it low impact does not mean you didn't try hard or it's low intensity. So just go for the low impact. Now, if you're asking how much strength to cardio in your 60s, you have to listen to your body. If you're doing mostly total body, even though it's low impact, you might be going, high intensity in terms of the effort and the weight that you're picking up, then you may only want to do 3 days of workouts. If your joints start talking to you where you're like, ooh, I can tell I shouldn't do a push-up tomorrow, or ooh, my butt is so sore, give yourself a day of rest. So for a normal 60-year-old, I'd say 3 days of weights, maybe 4 days is a good mix. And then cardio can really be every day. It doesn't have to be, again, like you're trying to win a 50-yard dash. Walking the dog can be good cardio too.
We are getting a lot of workouts that people want, so I'm writing them down.
So now they're getting vocal. What are some of the workouts? What are some of them?
Cardio plus core 3, athletic cardio 3, just because, again, that's body weight, and
that's
it's good
fun
for traveling.
Yep.
AMRAPs, more Tabatas.
We haven't done an AMRAP in a long time.
We have not.
Yeah, those are fun. They're a little harder to instruct because everyone's doing their own thing. And we tend to try to stay together in our AMRAP. But let's do an AMRAP. We'll put that on the list for sure.
Somebody is asking, do we plan on doing any more TRX workouts?
Oh, it's such a hard one because it's a separate piece of equipment that very few people have. Like, that's really not our specialty. TRX themselves have a bunch of workouts on their website, on their YouTube channel. And so I would really check those out because, like, I have a TRX, but I have to jury rig it up on my squat rack thing, and then I got to film it in my house. Like, we don't have anything in the studio to really do that, so it's kind of too much of a specialty item for us.
Yeah. Can you talk about, are there dates on the videos? We have somebody that has been a member since December, and unless she's not seeing a date, she's curious on how old of a video she's doing. She's loving the workouts, though.
Okay, so they're all in chronological order when you sort. So, like, when you sort by type, and then you go, let's say you're in the gold, and you sort by type, and you sort by cardio strength. They're going to be in chronological order of the most recent one filmed. So you could see in chronological order where you're at. We don't have exactly, like, this one was 2018. None of them are more than 5 years old because we all filmed them, in the last 5 years. And none of the gold are any longer than 4 years old because we filmed them in the last 4 years. But that's really the way to tell right now.
Yeah. Yep. Let's do one more calendar question, and then
Okay.
we are out of time. In a monthly calendar, you have workouts every day, Sunday and Saturday. How do you suggest doing a calendar if you want to train only Monday through Friday?
So calendars, we can't please everybody because everyone has a different workout schedule. We think you should take at least one day off a week. And some people like to take 2 days off a week, so they skip one of the workouts, which is totally fine. When we used to put 2 rest days on calendars, people would get mad that it was
Yep.
too much rest. So we decided, okay, we're going to do like 4 to 5 rest days a month.
A month, yeah.
And if you want more, just take more, just own it. And we kind of stick them in different spots. If they're not always, sometimes they are during the week though. Like we'll go 4 workouts in a row, take a rest day. 4 workouts in a row, take a rest day. Just move them around. Like if you know, okay, I really want to take Saturday and Sunday off, take the Saturday workout, move it up.
Yep.
If you print out the calendar, write it on there, and then take your rest day over there. You have to be a little flexible, pun intended, where you kind of move things and slide things around on the calendars to make it work from you. And I think it's amazing. Like some people do 2 calendars at once. Like they mix and match.
Yeah.
They go, I like this workout on this calendar. I like this workout on this calendar. I mean, I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
So.
It's 2 o'clock.
It's 2 o'clock Central Time, our time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys, these Q&As go by so fast. I am so glad we talked about heart rate today.
Yeah.
I thought that was
took up a good chunk, and it's very good and informative.
very informative. If there is a subject that you want to talk about, let us know. Message Sam or myself. Probably Sam.
Just message Chris and I'll get it.
Yeah, because I probably won't see it. I mean, it's hard to see everything.
It is.
But let us know because we're happy to cover topics that are of interest to you. Health and fitness is a big deal. I mean, it really is. And it's something that takes a lot of, research, and you want to know. And so I hope you guys learned something about heart rate today because it is an important part of what you guys are all doing. But as always, feel proud of what you accomplished because you are way ahead of the curve. The majority of people are doing nothing for their health. But, baby steps, be disciplined, join our Facebook page because it is so motivating.
So motivating.
We've been recently talking about the fact that you don't wake up every day motivated. That's not possible. And that's why this little Facebook group can give you a dose of motivation every day. It's really awesome. Thanks as always for your support. We love it. Feel free to upgrade to gold because you get 2 workouts a week.
They're fun.
And we have a little break coming on for gold because of the holidays,
yep.
But we'll be back the week of July 12th.
Yeah.
So have an amazing holiday and we'll see you guys later.